Hey, are we on live? Hey, everybody. I am now doing the first live stream from the United States in a little bit less than a year. The last time I streamed here was during the New York Meetup, which I'll be doing on January 3rd. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of our New York viewers. This is a director's premiere. A premiere which we tried to do once, didn't go so well on the YouTube live, on the YouTube videos. So we're gonna do it our way, which is on Only in Japan Go. I've set up the computer right here. I'm gonna watch the episode with you and take some of your questions at the end. And I think it's gonna be pretty cool because I can see your feedback at the same time. Instead of Premiere, which is typing, I'm gonna do it to you like this. I think it's a little bit better for all of us. I'm now using a wide angle lens on the iPhone XS, so it might look a little bit distorted. Looks okay to me. Hey, I see everybody starting to come online. I think the notification went out. Without further ado, let's start this video. This one has been, and you can see it on the Only in Japan main channel right here. On the thumbnail, I kind of photoshopped it. Hey, Joseph, thank you. It's a 10. I kind of photoshopped the thumbnail, and I wanted the Maguro to be the highlight of it. And I put me and Mikey in the background, black and white. And I thought that the color of the Maguro, the redness, the pinkness of it would be more reflected by tuning out the background a little bit. So that's why the thumbnail is sort of artistic. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I just thought it was something that I wanted to do with the thumbnail. The collaboration with Mikey, one thing I have to tell you about this before we get too deep into it is that Mike Chen's video on Strictly Dumplings will be released on Tuesday. And I had to do it now because I don't know, I'm going to be so busy over the next several days, I don't know when I can actually release it and coordinate with him. We weren't able to do that, so I just released it. And I contacted him before I released it and was very, very, how do I say, very thankful that Mike said, go ahead, just release it. So that's what we did. His will be coming out on Tuesday, and we'll be able to see that collaboration. It's going to be pretty cool. MX... oh, Mexican. Thank you. Oh, you retracted the message. That's too bad, but I appreciate that very much. I do appreciate everybody who's donating with super chats. Thank you so much for that. Okay, here we go. So this is the Tokyo Maguro Sushi Set, the A5 Wagyu steak of the sea. And this, hey Joseph, thank you so much. Sorry, I meant for it to be $10. Thanks, Joseph. This is sort of funny because when I was filming this video, I didn't think of Wagyu being the steak of the sea. It was just something that Mike had said. And it started going, you know what? That's not wrong. Mike is pretty close to hitting it nail on the head. I never thought of Maguro being like Wagyu, but I think you can kind of tie those two together. So let's get to it. The opening, of course, starts my friend Peter's Only in Japan chant, which I love to imitate. So I can balance this better.
Only in Japan.
There you go. Welcome to Tsukiji. Yeah, I know. The fish market has moved a couple of kilometers down. Okay, some notes on this. I filmed this about 3 weeks after Mikey and I... this is like inside information on this episode, okay? I filmed this opening about 3 weeks after we'd filmed the original episode because it just got too dark too quickly. I came back, and then at that time, it was no, it was a little bit more than that, about over a month after, because we filmed this like way back in October, I think. And we're only starting to release it. I'm only releasing it now because I wanted to coordinate with him. But I filmed this like what was, maybe end of November, yeah. And it was cold. And I'm wearing, I rolled up my sleeves to try to match the way I was looking in the video. You can see my hair is longer here, and you can see that I'm rolling it up. Maybe it's a little bit darker too. I think people that are really looking at it, and there's always some people that are really examining, will be able to tell that I'm actually, this is a totally different day. So I hope when I explain it, you're like, oh yeah, your hair is longer. I think that's going to be kind of a cool thing to look back at.
There's no more Maguro auction. Wait, what? The market and tuna auction isn't in Tsukiji anymore? See, Tsukiji is in central Tokyo. It has an outer market where I am now, and an inner market where the fish was auctioned and sold. that closed on October 6, 2018. The business moved to Toyosu, 3 kilometers, or 1.8 miles down the road. You may think this changes everything with sushi in the city, but Tsukiji's outer...
All right. A lot of people still don't know that Tsukiji's inner market where the tuna auction has closed. And what I heard was a lot of tourists are coming with guidebooks, like actual printed guidebooks without the information. They get up there and like, what? It's closed? Where is it? And they don't know. The tuna auction has a little observation booth at the new market, and apparently that's not open until January. This is what I was told, and also what I read on the website, and this is what I was told by other friends that went there. So as soon as it's open, I'm going to try to get in there and get an inside look of the tuna auction for the channel, but I think some other YouTubers have already done that. I'll have my own way to do it, which might be pretty thorough. I usually get in there pretty good. But apart from that, Tsukiji's outer market is still very much in business, and I want to thank everybody for the super chats. I'm going to go back and answer those questions. I really do appreciate it. The outer market of Tsukiji is still very much alive, and you still get some of the best sushi in Japan here. Look, all of the high-end sushi places in Shinjuku, in Ikebukuro, in all around Tokyo would go to Tsukiji, meaning they would have to travel to go get the fish anyway. So now the Tsukiji's outer market, they still have to travel now, 3 kilometers instead of 300 meters. But they still get that fresh fish, just like everywhere else, and it's still one of the top places to go because it's got that reputation, it's got that brand, the Tsukiji brand, and in fact, even in the new market in Toyosu, the market where the restaurants is called the Oedo Tsukiji Market. So they still kept that Tsukiji brand and added Oedo. Some of you might be familiar with the Oedo Onsen, which is located not too far away on another island, like one of the man-made islands in that area. So I thought that was an interesting information. The tuna auction will be held, but it'll be a lot more organized, which is a very, very good thing. Because it was just like a disaster every time I went to go and see the auction.
Market still serves some of the best sushi in Tokyo, if not Japan. Behind me is my favorite sushi shop called Sushi Zanmai.
Hey, Lenny.
And I'm going to be having sushi with a guy who's been to Japan many times before, but for some reason he's never had sushi in his entire life. Despite being a chain shop, Sushi Zanmai does a great job with quality.
I didn't want... All right, everybody knows who it is, right? Because it's in the thumbnail, but I didn't... When I filmed this, I'm like, maybe it'll be a surprise. Sometimes I forget in the thumbnail gives a lot of the information away, and then when I film it, I don't want to give the information away, so you already know who's in there. But...
quality for cost, which is why it's popular with locals and tourists. The nigiri set is really amazing, but today...
We ate a nigiri set for Mike's episode of Strictly Dumpling, so that's what you're going to be seeing on Tuesday. And let me tell you something. I put a little picture of the nigiri set. It's massive. The thing costs about $30, which is actually really cheap for sushi. But for this, I mean, for the mid-range, that's a lot of money for people to spend $30, $35 on sushi. Because you can get it at the $1 sushi. You can eat a lot of that for half the price. That's why I like this chain, and I'll get more in that as we move along. Let's move along.
It's all about the Maguro, tuna, with this guy. Welcome.
Here he is. How you doing?
You ready for some sushi?
Hey, I've been waiting. Let's do it.
Before we devour some amazing sushi.
All right. When I first made a Maguro episode in Oma last year, I got so many comments. Yeah, it is Mikey. Yeah, Mike Chen. I got so many comments. I see a lot of people joining us now. Welcome, everybody. A lot of comments from people that were very... I guess they wanted me to focus more on the lack of Maguro, the lack of tuna now in the oceans because they have been overfished. And I'm not somebody who ignores that. I didn't put it into the video. I thought it would be important to know that there is a problem with the amount of Maguro, and maybe you shouldn't eat too much of it, like all you can eat Maguro or cheap Maguro. I don't like cheap Maguro because I think most of the Maguro caught in Japan is more responsibly done, and there'll be people who disagree with me, and that's fine. I believe if they're line caught and not by nets, by industrial like plants, if it's fishermen catching like 5 or 6 a year, or they make their living off of this. I'm not against 5 or 6 a year for a fisherman out in the middle of the straits between Hokkaido fishing, but I wanted to add a little bit into that. And I don't eat a lot of Maguro. I eat it on special occasions or like in this situation, but I love it, but there's so many other foods to eat. But I thought that was important.
Let's do an overview on the Hon Maguro.
And this is all from the first
previous
episode I did.
I went aboard a fishing vessel between Hokkaido
I
and
was in
Honshu,
Canada.
searching for Japan's most famous Maguro in Oma, Aomori. The tuna are auctioned back in Tokyo, where they cost as much as the new car, then driven back up to Aomori. Carved by a professional, separating the 3 levels of meat.
You gotta see this episode. It's really good the way he talks about...
Chutoro in the middle, and the fatty and expensive Otoro.
That's the CEO of a famous shop in Oma, Aomori.
Some call Maguro the Wagyu of the sea.
He's cutting it with a Rolex, by the way.
Which has led to dangerously low numbers of Maguro in the seas. But I still eat it on special occasions, and in limited quantities. And it's good to try when you're in Japan. When you do, make sure it's at a good place, like this. Back at Tsukiji Zanmai.
Yeah, that's that note that I wanted to add in there. I wouldn't eat cheap Maguro anyways. I think if it's like too cheap, I don't think it's responsibly caught. And a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I try my best to support local businesses, and I try to do the right thing. It's really hard to do the right thing all the time. You can't do it. So this is something that I know about. I think I was educated by a lot of other viewers leaving comments in the last video, and something that I wanted to put in this video. Happy New Year, everybody, by the way.
Market, the Maguro is being prepared for our early dinner. We've ordered a Maguro set with different styles and cuts.
That's the guy who cuts open the New Year sushi every year. He pays the most, like $1 million, no, like $100,000 for one Maguro. The CEO of this chain is very famous.
The 3 cuts are first: akame, chutoro, and otoro. Then
for the price of the sushi that you're getting, you can see the guys preparing it in front of you. This is one of the criteria of pretty decent sushi. If they're in the back and you can't see them preparing it, I don't know, it's okay, sushi. But he's doing it right in front of you, and you can see him taking the wasabi. He really puts a lot of effort into it. This is the same thing that you get from the high-end sushi places, and this is why I'm not against high-end sushi, and I think it is good, but to pay 1,000% more for a piece of sushi when you can get it for $4 and a piece of really good otoro, that's why I love this chain, and this is why I took Mikey to Sushi Zanmai, because I think he had never had sushi before, and if you're going to be trying high-end sushi, you don't start off with the best. You start off with something in the middle so you get a taste of what it's like, and I think if Mike continues to eat sushi, which I hope he does. He'd never had it before. Maybe he goes to a high-end Maguro sushi place to try the best. But if you're going to compare it, this is where you want to go, because this is what real sushi is, I think, with a chef who's preparing it in front of you, that puts a lot of effort and care into the way he makes it. And you can see that by me filming this too.
the chef takes out the blowtorch for number 4. Aburi toro.
Aburi toro.
The final one is prepared a little differently.
Negitoro, yeah.
Do you know what this is?
Negitoro, negitoro.
A little green onion and some ginger on the side to garnish it, and there you are. This is negitoro. It's minced.
All right, and now it starts. Literally, he's never had sushi before in his entire life, and this made it so much more interesting to me. Now, I'm not going to tell you how this collaboration was... Okay, maybe I will. So, I got a message from Mikey about, a few weeks before we filmed this, and that he was in Japan, and he wanted to meet up, and I thought that was great. I love the fact that we got in touch like this, and I met him in Shibuya. Such a nice guy. We talked for like a couple of hours, actually, and we were discussing about things that he could film when he comes to Japan. And I gave him some ideas like Ameyoko, and how about Hello Kitty the Puro Land, and he went out and he filmed them. And I thought that was really great, because these are episodes that I was thinking of doing, and I don't think that there's a monopoly on ideas. I like to share ideas with other creators. Maybe not YouTubers here in Japan so much, because a lot of people are doing the same thing here in Tokyo, but YouTubers from the outside that are coming to visit Japan, I like to share the ideas. Also with Joe, Joe is the biggest YouTuber in the middle in the Arab world. He likes to say. I like to share ideas with Joe and with Mikey, and if this can help you as the viewer learn more about Japan, that's sort of what my goal is. So. For me, this collaboration was pretty cool to do. All right, let's get back to this.
Stuff, tuna, and they put a little bit of green onions in it.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
I love negitoro.
Negitoro is better than good, and it's always the first one I try.
I always do.
Toro.
This is so much fun to watch back.
That's like the steak of the sea.
This is where it starts.
You know what I'm saying?
It's good. I like it all minced up like that because you don't even have to chew it. It's just kind of...
No.
He started right away going, this is the steak of the sea. And I'm like, really? Like in my mind, I guess it is. And I started to think about this. We didn't rehearse this. We didn't practice this. This is just, in YouTube, or before I started YouTubing, I had a script from NHK and I would do the show scripted. And the director would tell me the way he wanted to do things. And it seemed really unnatural. And then when I started to do YouTube, the first maybe 20 episodes of Only in Japan, it was kind of tight. I wasn't really used to speaking in a natural style, and I think it just came from experience to be able to speak openly without a script or preparing. So then this style where we just put a camera and a mic and we get sushi and just say, let's just talk about it. I love that. That's so cool because the ideas just come to you as you're eating, and I love this back and forth. This was so much fun for both of us.
It's, like I said, it's like the A5 steak of the sea.
That's where this episode comes from. Like,
next up is the blowtorch
A5 steak of the sea.
Aburitoro.
Aburitoro is one that I didn't know too much about it. I don't, as I said, I don't eat a lot of Maguro. And when you think of Maguro, you think of the red akame. If you go to a sushi shop, most like mid-range or low-range sushi shops, there's just one. It's just akame. It's that red, cheap. It's cheaper, but that doesn't make it inferior. Aburitoro is one that you have to be more experienced as a sushi eater to try. It's cooked just enough to bring out the fats, and you're gonna see it. It's just such an amazing piece.
The heat brings out the flavors, and what I like to say, activates the fats.
Activate the fats,
Why you get
hashtag.
this on my little tray here? What have you been holding out on me?
I'm saving the good stuff for last.
All right, Mikey was somewhat upset that we didn't do this for his channel, and I can see why. But he said to ask each sushi, and then I said, well, okay, we're gonna make one for your channel, and I want to make one for mine. And so we ate the nigiri platter, which is this picture here that you can see. It's massive. That's a lot, including this anago, which is huge on the platter. And a lot of people who've been to Japan and ate at Sushi Zanmai, they eat this. So I thought that'd be the best thing to share with Mike. So then afterwards, I said, what can I do for the main channel? Let's just do Maguro and focus on that. And that's what we did. Mike, he said it a couple of times, like, why didn't we do this for my episode? And I was always just like tongue-in-cheek laughing. But maybe I should have in hindsight, because a lot more people are going to be watching on Mikey's channel than on the main channel for Only in Japan. But in the end, I think it's just about giving information and sharing the experience with everyone who's watching. And that's the most important thing with YouTube, I think.
Some of that touched my lips. I felt like I was being kissed by a mermaid.
The references are awesome, and I don't know how he does it. He goes, some of that touched my lips, and it felt like I was being kissed by a mermaid. I don't know where this stuff comes from, but unscripted, this is like, boom. It's gold.
Mike, I'm in heaven.
Oh gosh, that was awesome.
This is too good. You know what makes this good? They seem to have blowtorched it, right?
Yeah.
They torched it so there's just a little bit grilled taste to it.
Wow.
But what the blowtorch has done is it brought out the fats, right?
Bring out the fats.
The best bite of sushi I've ever had in my life. Granted, this is like the only time I had sushi in my life, but that was the best.
That was good. All right, next up is akame.
We're having so much fun. This is way, way too much fun. And even when I was editing this, and I edited this a while back, it was just so much fun. I was laughing when I was editing this just because of the back and forth that we did. And I cut out a lot of stuff too, by the way. But some of it was even funnier, but it was a little bit over the top. We had a lot of fun making this. Akame's next, and I'll talk about that at the end.
Akame is the most common in sushi shops when they have Maguro on the menu. But quality Akame tastes much better than a conveyor.
Hey, I just created a Wix website for my business. Let me show you how I did it. Let's go to Wix.com. I can add
Paying the bills.
Sushi places.
I'm so shocked. Not as melty as the other one. I was expecting that. It's much leaner meat.
Yeah.
But you can taste the fresh. You can taste the more of a tuna flavor.
Yeah.
In that piece for sure. No, it's more. It's kind of like Wagyu. The leaner pieces sometimes have a much beefier flavor.
Right.
This is like the same thing. Much better tuna flavor, a little less fat. That one's great as well.
So this here is chutoro, and you can see some of the fat in between the tuna.
Let me talk about akame just for a second. Pay your sushi bill, Ronald writes in. Yeah, that's actually, sometimes videos are sponsored. This was not a sponsored video from this shop, okay? Just so you guys know. There are other chains that are pretty good too. But Sushi Zanmai, it is one of my favorite shops. It's not. It's probably the one I go to the most because it's everywhere. We paid for our bill. This was not paid for by them. I called them up and got access to film inside, and that's the extent of our relationship. And I'll give you more information on this. Sushi Zanmai is a very nice chain. I think that they make the sushi responsibly and do a good job for the price that you pay. And once again, I like to support local businesses, but this chain is one that is good to go to, I think, because it's just easy to order. Now, akame is, as I said, when you think of Maguro, you probably think of akame because that's the most well-known Maguro. And then if you're like Maguro, Tuna, akame, they just sort of go together because that red color is always in your mind when you think of it. For me, I always think of chutoro because that's my favorite cut. But akame can be done really, really well. Now, Sushi Zanmai cuts it real thick, and that's why I like it. Because when you put it in your mouth, there's no fat, so the more you chew it, the tastes don't get enhanced because there's no fat, it's lean. So you do get a really big tuna taste, not like tuna fish, but you have to eat a lot of Maguro to really get that feeling and that taste. If akame is fresh, it tastes amazing. If it's not fresh, you can tell it's not bad, but you can taste the difference between a fresh cut of akame and akame that has been flash frozen and sitting around for a while. And most of the cheaper places, all Maguro is flash frozen after it's caught for transport, and it does enhance the flavor, but the longer it sits, I think it deteriorates a little bit. The taste, this is my opinion, okay, as a sushi eater. I've eaten a lot. But they cut it thick, and it's fresh, and it's not frozen. It has a good consistency in the mouth. You dip a little bit of soy sauce on it. That's what I like to do. A lot of people are going to say, don't mix your wasabi and your soy sauce. I disagree. I eat it the way I want to eat it. It's like a hamburger in many ways. You can eat it any way you want. At high-end sushi places, this is the biggest difference between low and mid and high-end. At high-end sushi places, they will tell you, including Japanese who eat a lot of sushi, how to eat it. All right? You're paying a lot of money, you want to eat it right. At high-end sushi places, you wouldn't put this wasabi into the soy sauce. At kaiten sushi, which is the conveyor belt sushi, I always put this wasabi in the soy sauce because I love it. It's cheap sushi. You can eat it any way you want. It's like finger food. It's like a cheeseburger. You can eat it with tomatoes. You can eat it with lettuce. You can eat it any way that you want. You can pick up your sushi or you can eat with chopsticks. At high end, it's different. So everybody who's telling me don't put the wasabi in the soy sauce can just keep that advice to themselves because it's up to you as the eater to eat it any way that you want. At Sushi Zanmai is in the middle. The sushi chef will, if you ask them, they'll advise you, but people are doing it both ways, okay? There's no one way to eat sushi. They put wasabi underneath this cut, and you can also put more if you want. It's just up to you, the way you feel you want it to taste. And that's the way I've always eaten sushi. I've always seen it as a finger food. I eat it. People who eat it regularly eat it. Don't go to high-end sushi places. People who eat sushi regularly eat it at this level or at kaiten sushi, which is cheaper. Just a little bit of information.
It's more of a premium cut. Yeah.
Oh, I love chutoro. That's when it hits. 5 or 6 chews.
It's like a combo of fattiness and just great tuna flavor.
I'm glad we ate the akame first because you can taste what it tastes like without the fat. And then when you get that little bit of fat in there, oh man.
Oh, it's so good. Each piece is better than the last.
Mine had like a second level. I took a bite in it, I got the akame, and then 2 seconds later, it just, the fat hit.
I think
fat hit.
I would just exclusively eat tuna.
Yeah.
This is, or so Mike goes, he would just exclusively eat tuna. This comes after we'd eaten the nigiri set, which is just everything. It's like a lot of stuff on a plate. It had ika, it had all different kinds of flavors that he will describe in his video on Tuesday. He says, you know what, I would just exclusively eat tuna, maguro. And that makes a lot of sense. Just a lot of people love it. It's just, that's the reason why there's less and less maguro in the waters, and why I thought it was a little bit important to talk about that a little bit. It's so good that people eat too much of it, maybe. And it's not the Japanese that are overfishing it. It's just the worldwide demand that everyone is eating maguro. About 20 years ago, sushi was not that popular. Now everyone has maguro. And everyone wants maguro. And the demand for it is just like exploded. It's not, Japan's population is shrinking. Japan's population is shrinking. So there's less sushi eaters in Japan than there were around the world. So I just thought, Mike loves it and he wants to eat so much of it. And I think that's pretty cool. And if you go to Japan, that's the place to do it. But don't eat too much of it. You know, save some for others.
I would. I mean, that's my favorite.
Supply and demand. Supply and demand. Playmaker rights.
That's what I would do. Like, you know, in the morning when they have the fish auction, I would be attached to one of those fish.
I love these references.
This looks like Wagyu right here.
I did, when I was editing, I said, I totally have to bring this out with music. So I changed the music a little bit to be more dramatic. And I even put in some Beethoven. I wanted to class it up a little bit. A little bit of classical music goes a long way. I know the younger people might not like it. I love classical music because it brings out a mood. When I watched cartoons growing up, Tom and Jerry, and Bugs Bunny always use classical music, and you can use humor with it. I thought that this would be a good touch. Nowadays, we hear too much of the pop music, but a little bit classical can go a long way.
Yeah, this is otoro. This is, actually, this would be considered like the A5 Wagyu of tuna.
I picked it up from Mike.
Tuna has a limited amount of otoro, which makes it pricier. Usually, you don't have to eat a lot of otoro. 1 or 2 pieces is enough to take your taste buds to the stratosphere. It takes a few chews for the oils to come out.
He's going, oishii.
It takes like about 8 bites to fully hit me.
That's right. I like otoro, but personally, I prefer chutoro.
All right, I did that zoom there because I just didn't have another cut. My friend Alan was recording from the back, and he missed the focus because he wasn't used to working with the GH4, so I didn't have the back shot that I wanted to do for cuts. So, yeah, I think one person wrote in the comment, that shot doesn't work. I'm like, yeah, I know it doesn't work, but it's the best that I could do to try to make into that transition into this. You know, when you're editing, it's good to have multiple cameras so you have a cutaway shot. If it gets boring, you can cut and you can add in the back shot for 5 seconds and cut back, and it keeps the flow of the video going. I was shooting in 4K and I exported into HD so I could do some of this, but I thought, all right, let's just zoom it in, and it worked better than the other shots that I had because it was out of focus. So you got to work with what you have.
Because I get more of you can taste both the akame and the fat. Otoro is more fat than akame.
Yeah.
But if you like fat,
I love fat.
then that's your king.
I love fat.
And Otoro rules.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. That was great. You know what? I think I might have, like, what was that first piece?
He approaches sushi from the point of view of meat. All right, this is why I love to do this episode with Mike, because he approached it as someone who had never eaten sushi before, and he loves fat. You always see the fat in the Wagyu, the marbling, the way it is tasty. Fat is tasty, but he's approaching this from the point of view of a meat lover. I love that because I never approached sushi that way. I have the way I think of vegetables, I have fish and sushi, and I have meat, and I kind of in my mind it's separated, but he's putting the sushi with the same level as meat, and that's awesome. And his passion for fat is just like I had to edit that a little bit because I'm just cracking up. You see, focused on Mike, because like I'm just cracking up. I mean, who goes this fat? I love fat. You know, nobody does that, but Mike does that, and that's pretty cool. I was digging it. You know, that's the best way to describe it. You got to talk about the way you love it, and when you do YouTube, it's that passion for whatever you're doing that comes out, and that's why he's so successful at what he does.
Oh, the negitoro.
Yeah, the seared.
Oh yeah, the broiled.
That's still my favorite.
Buritoro.
Because you got that little bit of like smokiness to it, and I think that's mixed with the fattiness. That's my sweet spot. That's my happy place.
Happy place.
But if you're just talking about completely untouched sushi, the last piece. The fattier the better for me.
Fattier the better.
I'm smacking my lips right now.
There are so many parts of the tuna, the Maguro, that people don't know about. I think I ate at one course, 11-course meal, just Maguro. The
Really?
cheek, the tail.
This is an episode you should watch.
There's so many parts of it.
I don't know about the eyeball, but
We didn't eat it
everything
raw.
else.
It was in a soup, actually. But
still, I mean, that's an eyeball. I mean, I know that's a big Japanese specialty is the eyeball.
yeah,
So you had that?
I did.
How was that?
Yeah,
Gooey?
I don't like to talk about it so
I
much.
just- I mean,
It was good, but it wasn't,
yeah.
it was an eyeball. It was an
It's an
eyeball.
All right.
It has like collagen, which is supposed to be good for your skin.
I'm trying to justify eating an eyeball. All right, I can't do eyeball. Writes in Suengo Lee, Mr. Lee. Yeah, it's not easy, especially when it's raw, or if it's been baked, the eyeball will just get white, and I see people pick it up with their fingers and just eat it. It's hard to do, but in a soup, I tried it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's good for you. All sorts of weird stuff is.
Thanks so much, Mike.
Thanks for having me, John. Thanks for
glad-
showing me the ropes.
I'm glad that you came here to Japan. What is it about Japan that you really like? What attracts you to this
Well,
place?
you know what it is? It's like I feel like there's so much traditional culture here, which is something I really appreciate because I love history.
All right. I wanted to ask him this question to get a focus off of food for a moment. He really, really loves Japan, and that makes me feel really good as someone who's lived there for so long. And he gets it, right? And I like that because a lot of people who visit Japan for the first time or even several times, they don't quite get I don't know, they don't get it, and he gets it. I guess it's maybe because he travels a lot. He has a lot of because his show is so international, he can compare all the different cuisines of the world, and that's one of the reasons why he has such an amazing passion for Japan. And he kind of gets why there's so much differences with the country, not just in the food, but in a lot of other stuff. And the more I talk to him, the more I get the feeling like, yeah, he gets it. You know, he would be an amazing YouTuber if he just focused on Japan. You know, Strictly Japan. I'm just throwing it out there, Mike. If you're watching, Strictly Japan, just new channel, maybe, I don't know. This guy in the back, do you see him? All right. He is I think if you look at the comments and you read the comments in the video, he's one of the most commented parts of this video. He's the PR guy for Sushi Zanmai. He's a super nice guy. And before we started, I said, yeah, just be careful not to be in the video. And when I'm editing the video, he's all over the video. And I just couldn't edit him out. And I can't really blur his face either, because then, all right, if I blur his face, the focus goes on that blur, all right, and off of Mike. If I leave him in, at least people are going to be talking about it, right? And it only helps his company. So there's this guy growing out of Mike's shoulder that just continuously peeks in and looks at the sushi as though he himself wants to eat it, although he could probably eat it anytime he wants. But he's looking in, and I'm editing the video. I'm like, what do I do with this guy? Do I leave him in here or do I edit him out? And I just started laughing. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to leave him in there because it's just so much funny, so much more fun to see his reactions, the way he's kind of looking at the sushi. Like, this guy wants to take a bite of Mike's sushi, and Mike's not going to let him take a bite of that sushi. That's his sushi. That's Mike's sushi. He's not going to share. So it's just kind of funny. So I left that in there, right? And Simon writes in that he found that funny. Simon from Dublin, and a lot of people are writing in that they find that funny in the live stream. I thought it was hilarious. So that's why you can see him peeking right here. That's fine. I think little thing, dude, is weird. Tasty, you got that right. It was kind of awkward. One of the reasons why he's looking in here is because we went overtime big time. And I want to give just a thank you to him and to Sushi Zanmai, because I said we would need just about an hour. We were there for closer to 2 because we were just having way too much fun. And I guess this is going to be really good for Sushi Zanmai, so I can't see why they would be upset by this, and I can't do anything about it now. But it's pretty cool to see that we have a second star, and he's going to become infamous maybe from the peeking. I love the peeking. I think he's checking to see if we're done the video shoot, or how much further we have to go. But I guess he wasn't thinking that, you know, potentially hundreds of thousands of people might be watching this video. So, kind of funny. I don't think you're going to see him in Mike's video, because Mike's video, we did Mike's video first because I wanted to make sure we get time for what he was doing, because he's visiting Japan. He's our guest. Guests always go first. So we put the camera up, and he did his thing. And then ours was last. And I know we were really trying to fit in a lot in a little bit amount of time. All right, let's continue.
And I love people who promote like their own culture, historical.
Talking about Japan.
And events and clothing and food. I love that, and I feel like Japan does that. Probably one of the best countries that promotes their culture so well. And plus, the food is amazing. Yeah. The Japanese people are like just food innovators. Yeah. Every time you come back, there's like somebody created a melon. They just took them 40 years. Somebody made a grape that tastes like ice cream. I don't know. They're just really good at creating all sorts of fantastic food stuff. So.
You never get bored in Japan eating.
I'm jealous of you. I'm jealous that you live here. I'm jealous.
Japan is a gastronomical amusement park when it comes to sushi. It's a must for every visitor.
This is the back shot I was talking to that was out of focus. This one was taken by GoPro. This one I kind of put in at the end, so you can kind of see a little bit of it. But I didn't want to get anybody of the customers' faces, and earlier on there were faces in there, and I just didn't want to do any blurring at all. So there's just one last shot of us just talking and having fun.
I have a feeling Maguro, aka the A5 Wagyu of the sea, may be back on Mike's plate again someday. Because as we've discovered, the best Maguro sushi is only in Japan.
I love to end on the musical notes. I just love to end on musical notes, and there's some sort of real satisfaction of when you can put music together with video, and especially food, and you make it an art. And it's not just about the food anymore. It's about a feeling that you get by watching the food or watching a story. That's why the music is so important. And to put in a version of Beethoven that's royalty-free from YouTube creators, thank you very much for that, was really a lot of fun for me to edit this video. And I want to give Mike from Strictly Dumplings, he might not need it, but everybody is working hard on their YouTube channels. But Mike's YouTube channel is Strictly Dumpling. An amazing channel because he's so consistent with his content, unlike me where I do it just about twice a month. He's like boom, 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 really hammering out videos, and I have a lot of respect for YouTube creators that can do that. I wish I could. I kind of do it differently than other people. But Jim writes in, it's great to see both of you had so much fun. We had so much fun. And I think when we're doing this, I hope you also get the feeling like you guys are with us when you do this. That's what I like with the Only Japan Go. I can see you. You guys you're with me when I do this. And when I made that video, I'm thinking about like all of you out there. It's sort of fun like that. I want to go now and answer some of your questions. I'm gonna go back and see. So we got a super chat in from Vaughn. What Mike think of raw fish after this? And Math G writes in, other than Maguro, what is your favorite fish? All right, so Math, my favorite fish, wow. Salmon is so good in Japan too, but it's hard to know if it's been farmed or not. Well, Maguro, that's really hard. I love takoyaki. I love the taco, the octopus and the takoyaki. That's not a fish though. I don't know. That's a hard one. Maybe I'll come back. I'll come back to that one. That's just so hard. It'll come back to me. Booty is also really good. Booty. That's I don't even know what it is in English. Vaughn, Mike, I don't know if he will eat sushi again. I think that's something you can ask for him. But my vibe was that he just really wanted to try it because he comes to Japan so often. He loves Japan. He wanted to share this. We wanted to share this experience with our viewers together, and I guess he thought that it would be great to do this as a collaboration, his first time, and I have a lot of respect for that because, you know, gosh, at the end of it, I don't want to talk too much about it. I think that's something you can ask Mike in the comments on his video on Tuesday. He's going to be doing the other part of this on Tuesday. I had to release it today. I had to release a second video in December as well. But I don't know. I really hope that he liked the sushi and that he will try it. I know he liked the aburitoro, which was partially cooked. It's still raw though. It's still raw. So I think yeah. Whatever. We'll see. Let's say if he comes back to Japan, we get a chance to do this again. Maybe we'll take you to a high-end sushi place. Maybe. I haven't done a video on high-end sushi yet. I'm staying away from Jiro's because everybody knows what that is, and I'm staying away from other places that people know about because I like to take you to a new place that you've never heard about or something that's off people's radars. And then that video will be able to help maybe a young budding sushi chef that had studied under a master. So maybe we'll do something like that. I like to promote young and family-run shops if I can. Ryan writes in, great video. Happy New Year, John. Thank you, Ryan. Mark Mansell writes in, hey, John, I love to see you in Australia. Kanai and I would love to go down under. I think we're going to be doing it maybe at the end of 2019 when it's summer down there. And we're thinking of creative places to celebrate Christmas, and nothing beats the beach, right? So maybe we'll see you down there. I have great friends in Manly and in Perth, all over the country. So I'd love to go back to Australia. I celebrated the millennium there in 1999, 2000. I worked on Bondi Beach selling shaved ice, somewhat illegally, but yeah, I didn't make that much money. Sorry, Australia. Glenda writes in, Happy New Year from, Happy New Year only in Japan from Glenda from Las Vegas. Thank you, Glenda. Anil Rivera. Thank you, Anil. I'm always so happy to hear from you. What days will you be in New York? I'll be in New York on January 3rd. And I think we're going to do this in the evening, like around 7:30. And we're staying near Times Square, so that might be most convenient for everybody, especially those that are coming in on the bus and from Grand Central Station. So, yeah, look on January 3rd around 7:30 p.m. Times Square, and I'll have more information on that. But it'd be great to meet everybody in New York. Mix from Philippines, thank you so much. Joseph Clark meant it for it to be $10. Thank you, Joseph. And we got one from Mexico, and I don't see... All right, sorry, I missed that. We got one from Mexico, which was very significant. I want to say thank you. The message was retracted, so I can't see who sent it in now. And Joseph, yeah, I see the 10 there. All right, thank you, Joseph. I always appreciate it, guys. Eric Holleran writes in, thanks for the collaboration with Mike Chen. He is cool. He's very cool. Once again, like I was so happy to hear from him and to do this video together was like amazing because I like to collaborate with creators that are an expert in their field, all right? Because it brings something extra to what you're watching, and not just any random YouTuber because they're in Japan. I want to bring you a collaboration with somebody who's an expert in their field, and there's nobody who is more passionate about food in general than Mike Chen. And it's like, I just had to do a collaboration together because it just works out that way. And I did it in only in Japan style, and he'll do one in his style. So I think it's fun to work together like that. But he is a professional in his field, which is food. There's very few people who are more passionate than Mike. For next time you're in Montreal, get a fish poutine. I still can't pronounce it right. I was in Montreal 2 days ago, and we had poutine, which is French fries, gravy, and cheese curd, which is this famous food from Quebec, and it was awesome. And I posted some pictures on Instagram. Thank you for that. We want to go back to Montreal when it's warmer. Everyone said come in June. So yeah, my brother lives not too far away, so it's convenient to go to Canada, to Montreal. And sorry for everyone in Toronto. We will, if next time we go to Montreal, we're gonna have to go to Toronto and maybe to Ottawa on the way because that's the capital of Canada. And I'd love to show Kanai some more of North America because our neighbors up north in Canada are pretty cool too. We had an amazing time in Montreal despite the freezing weather. So thanks for everybody who came to the meetup. We had 17 people who came. Some of them came, said hi, and left. And I was just happy that people showed up because the weather was not good. It was freezing rain, and we still had 17 people come. So I'm so thankful for that. All right, I'm going to go in now and take a look at the live chat and see some of your questions. If you have any questions about this episode, I want to keep it basically on this. You should collaborate with the Endless Adventure couple. I don't know who that is, but I'm happy to, I'm really happy to collaborate with anybody who's coming to Japan, and I have time to do it. I think my goal with the channel is to try to give more people as much information about Japan that is unique and different than a guidebook, and something that'll add value to your trip here, and not put the focus too much on me, but on the content. So that's sort of what we do. That's what I do. What's your opinion on the California sushi roll, Joel? I'll eat it if it's there, but I don't like it that much. I think avocado is weird on sushi for Japanese, including Kanai. We don't eat avocado in sushi. Just weird, but I think the color looks good. I guess if you're going with color, it's healthy, so I can't see anything bad about it. It's just weird, all right? I wouldn't call it sushi. That's why we call it California roll. It's not really sushi. And sushi, the maki roll, most sushi is, when I think of sushi, I think of on top of the rice. That's sushi to me, but maki roll is still sushi, but it's just a different kind. I'll eat it. I mean, I'll eat it. Is Sushi Zanmai English friendly? Mix, yes. I believe they have an English menu, especially in Tsukiji Honten and Asakusa. I'm going to pronounce it the way I like to. Asakusa, A-S-A-K-U-S-A, Asakusa. They have English menus, so you can order it in, as well as just be able to point to the sushi that you want as well, because they have pictures. So it's a lot of tourists are there. So I think it's pretty English friendly. Thanks for asking that. Yeah, definitely like this video if you like these premieres. When I get a chance to do it, instead of chatting, I'll try to do it like this, verbally, and answer your questions. So let's do this for a couple more minutes. Are you interested in the foods Mike Chen eats in Japan? That's a good question. I don't know. I think there's a lot of hype behind the foods that we have in Japan, and I'm not against it, but I don't think a hyped up food is what I would do for the main channel. For me, the way I do my channel is different from, and the way everybody does their channel is different from everybody else. Mine is more story driven. At least this is my hope for the channel. I come up with a story or an idea, and I base that episode around the story. And, a lot of people do vlogs. The Only Japan main channel is not a vlog. It's a program. I don't know anyone. People say I like your vlog, and I just give it thumbs up because it's just semantics, really. It's on YouTube, but it's not a vlog. It's not about my opinions or about my life, a video blog. It's about a story, is what I like to think of it. And this was a story about our experience eating Maguro with someone who hadn't eaten Maguro before. This is more vlog-like, but it wasn't really about me. It was more about the Maguro. At least I hope so. Wish I was smart like you. What does that mean? I'm not that smart. Ask my wife. Hope I can see you during the Olympics. I will be in the 2020 Olympics. I will be live streaming, and the bigger the Only in Japan Go channel can get, the more power we can have as a community, the more access I'm going to have during the Olympics. So I think it'd be pretty cool if we can, the more we can increase the subscribers of this channel, the more we'll have power-wise in order to give you stories that are unique and live, which I would love to do. Kai Oliver writes in, hello from Germany. It's 1:40 midnight. I know. The reason why I did this episode now was so that people in Europe could see it before they go to bed. It just seemed to be a sweet spot. I was going to do this later, but I did it as soon as I got home. Florencia is always so sweet. Chris Henson. Hey, Chris. Boiled nuts is a Southern American thing. My mom is... Chris always has some really interesting things to say. Thanks, Chris. I should read it before I read it aloud. 10 to go for 250 likes. Thanks, UFO Bob, for pushing that. And by the way, UFO Bob bought Professor Fukuoka's book from Amazon. I really appreciate that as well. I saw the picture on Patreon. Thank you for that. Smash the like button. Thank you. Thanks for everybody who's promoting that. Birdie is and Hamachi is Japanese. Amberjack, yes. I love amberjack. It has a nice buttery texture, great sashimi and nigiri, yes. And buri daikon is what Kevin and I ate in the canned food restaurant video from last year. So buri daikon is really good as well. Yeah, your production is very professional. This is from Christina Lynn. Reminds me of travel channels, highly polished. When I started the channel, I don't want to talk too much about this, but when I started the channel, I wanted to do something that was like what I was doing in NHK, but better, more informative, more information, more, just more entertaining than NHK. And that's where my background comes from, video editing and making stories like this. So I haven't really changed too much since I started in 2013, but I really appreciate that you guys like the Only Japan main channel, like what you see. A couple more. I watch Mike's channels. He has more than one. Mike, this is from Linda. Mike has like several channels. His most famous one is one called Beyond Science. And I didn't watch it until I talked to him. And it's kind of interesting. He really gets in depth about things that are curious or things that are on people's mind. And I think that's pretty cool because I kind of approach life like this. I'm curious about everything. And Mike is someone who I can talk to for anybody. If you talk to Mike, you're just talking for hours because he's so curious about everything. I love that when you talk to people and they just have so many things that they want to talk about and so many curiosities. You start a conversation and it can go down a parallel because he's curious about something. And that's how you discover new things and new information. And he uses his channel as a medium to share that. That's what YouTube is all about. So a lot of respect for what he's doing. And he does it like amazing amount of content. So the guy is really busy. Hi from Idaho. Hey. Wow, Idaho! I'm in the U.S. This is pretty closer than Japan right now. It's almost 10 in the morning in Japan. That's true. It's now at night, so I'm on, for most of the viewers in the U.S., I'm now on your time. I would love to visit more of the United States. Hi from Guam. Kanai and I are thinking about going to Guam in March, so maybe you will see us there. I might do a meetup in Guam because we have an amazing following in Guam. And the Philippines as well. These are two places that we really, really, really are high on our list. Philippines and Guam, our neighbors, you know. Like, I used to teach English, and I would ask people the students, I'd ask them, says, have you ever been to America? And they'd say no. And ask them, where have you been? They would say Hawaii and Guam. And I didn't want to, make them feel bad by saying, that's America. I was like, that's really interesting. That's good. I love Hawaii and Guam. And by the way, what country are there? And then they would discover, そうだね, America. So have you been to America? And they go, yes. You have to make people think it was their idea, right? So that was funny though, because to Japanese, people speak Japanese in Guam and Hawaii. A lot of people don't associate them with the United States, which is pretty funny. Guam is a territory, but it's still the United States. People have U.S. passports, I believe. I've only met a dozen people from Guam, and they're all viewers who watch the show and that I've met on the streets in Tokyo, which is awesome. Come to Vancouver. That was where Kanai's parents did their honeymoon in Vancouver, so that's a place that we will definitely be going to because that's a place where they went. So we have a connection to Vancouver. Let's see here. Any more questions on the episode? I'm going to do this for one more minute. From Patagonia in Argentina. How cool is that? Hi from Jersey. Hey, that's where I am right now. I'm in New Jersey. Just not too far from New York and from Philadelphia. If you guys want to write in where you're watching from, that's always interesting to see. Write in the country and the city as history of this episode. And for the meetup, we're going to be doing that on January 3rd in New York City. That's what we always ask. What exit for the New York Turnpike? How much can you eat as much as Mike? No, not many can. Mike can eat. I think he had actually filmed another episode before we ate like 30 pieces of sushi. He'd done another eating episode like in the morning and afternoon. I think he'd just been to Chinatown, and he made an episode in Chinatown, and he just eats, and it's amazing, and he stays in such good shape. I cannot eat as much, but I can eat a lot because I ate my entire poutine in Montreal. And I'm gonna keep mispronouncing that. It's about an hour west of Philadelphia. Yeah, that's not too far away. I lived in Jersey. So a lot of Jersey people chiming in. Yeah. Let's see here. Hi from Cali. He dropped a dumpling. He did? I haven't watched this episode. I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but I'll go back and check that out. Stockton, California. Hey John, you should go to the Instant Ramen Museum. That might be an episode next year. That's something that we might cover. The Instant Ramen Museum. Adelaide, South Africa, South Australia. Adelaide has good wine, I remember. Mike is a black hole for food. There's no end to it. Hi from Cambodia. This is your question about the episode. Is the other Maguro episode only in Japan? Yes, it's on the main channel. I got really, just a second about the other only in Japan Maguro episode. I got access from Aomori Prefecture to make that. Algeria, wow. And New Zealand, look at that. And so Aomori Prefecture gave me some extra access to, like, nobody can just go onto the sea and catch Maguro. But I got access to the fishing boat to try out a tour, which kind of gave me that experience. It was like a weird, like, once-in-a-lifetime type of thing to go out into the sea like this and catch Maguro. We didn't catch any on my boat, but we saw others that were catching it. It was pretty cool to see where your food comes from the sea there. And that place in Oma, Aomori is famous for Maguro because the currents of the Sea of Japan and the Pacific Ocean are quite strong, and the Maguro are fighting to get in there. So that means usually they're very well fed by the time that they get there. So the meat, I'm trying to remember what the fisherman told me, but by the time they get there, they're quite well fed, and the meat is just really good, he said. It's like, what is the difference between Maguro caught like further down the line than here? I can't tell the difference, but he says they're fatter, the fat content is higher, and it's just better from Oma and Aomori. And I can't disagree because I'm not a big Maguro eating person. As I said, I don't eat a lot of it. I kind of eat it because I know about the that the numbers are low. I just eat it on special occasions, but you can tell if you eat a lot of it, the quality of it. But you can tell good quality. And Sushi Zanmai, almost always, I've never really had bad fish there. And their miso soup, by the way, is so good as well. It comes with a side of miso soup. Oh, Sushi Zanmai is really good. UFO Bob is really promoting the like. I want to say thank you to everybody. I'm at the end of this trip. Next week, Kanai and I go back to Japan via Hong Kong. We're going to do the meetup on January 3rd at Times Square around 7:30. More information on that on Instagram, on Facebook, and in the YouTube. If you guys want to get the notifications from the post, you have to go back into the bell. Click the bell again, and then it'll give you options. And make sure you're getting the notifications for the stories that I post, because if you don't, you might miss a meetup. Because I post a lot of information in the community tab, which you can only get if you subscribe to it and you specifically ask for it. It's weird. YouTube has this system. So that's that. Thank you so much for watching that episode. Like and share it. Leave a comment in the main channel episode because that always brings more attention to that episode. I really want to promote the work that I do in the main channel episode because it takes a lot of time to produce each one, and I put a lot of meat into each episode and through the editing. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for the support. I see a lot of people from Patreon here. I will be posting some other pictures on Instagram, some from behind the scenes and things like this. So you might want to check out the Instagram. Only in Japan TV is my username there. And yeah, we'll be doing more live streams from the United States. I'm using Sprint. Sprint has a collaboration because the CEO of SoftBank in Japan is also a majority stakeholder in Sprint, which is a cell phone company in the United States that's not too popular. But I don't know. I like to think that they're doing well because I have SoftBank. So I have all unlimited data on Sprint. The problem is that over the last week, there wasn't a lot of Sprint where I was. And it wasn't 4G either. So now I think as I get closer to New York City, there's more Sprint. So I'll be able to do more live streams with Kanai as we go shopping and show you a little bit of the US. Back to Japan only subjects on January 6th and 7th, okay? I'm sorry for those that haven't been too happy, but I stream what I can stream and give you, I tried to spin it with a Japanese perspective, but we'll get back to Japan only topics on January 6th and 7th. So don't worry, we're going back there. The Iceland onsen video was pretty cool. I watched that again and Kanai and I were both cracking up. It was so funny to see us in Iceland, and we still can't believe we were there. It's like a surreal experience to look on the map and say we were there in Iceland, up on the tip of the world, even though we didn't see the northern lights, the aurora. Well, you know, it was still such an amazing experience. We've missed you, John. Judy, I've missed you too. I missed all of you. Sorry for not doing enough live streams. Just didn't have the bandwidth. I'll be posting the Montreal meetup video tomorrow, by the way. So you'll see that, and I might do it as a premiere, just so I can share that experience live with you and type. But I recorded it because we didn't have any live. I didn't have any 4G up in Montreal, so that'll be coming tomorrow. Thanks, guys, everybody. I'm gonna go and eat. I hope you enjoyed this experience of talking about the Maguro episode. For me, it was a lot of fun to not just work with Mike and to talk about all the things that we talked about off camera, but also just to, you know, eat some sushi with him and just have fun. And I think that's what YouTube and these collaborations are for me. It's just like you meet somebody who's doing, you know, something with their channel, and you just go out there and you have a lot of fun. And I hope that you could take that away as well. We didn't have any script or anything like that. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just eating and explaining sushi. So thanks, everybody, for the support. I see Nosh is here. I'll see you next time, probably tomorrow. And wherever you are in the world, leave a comment below, and I'll see you. Kanai is downstairs, by the way, talking to my parents. That's where she is. You'll see her tomorrow. Bye, everybody.